Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Let's Play. This time we're going to do Breath of Fire 1. I'm doing Breath of Fire 1 due to the fact that, I don't have a lot of free time. And it's a relatively short game. And I did Breath of Fire 2, let's see, we're going ahead and menu. Now, Breath of Fire 1 plays a lot like Breath of Fire 2. The only difference really is the menu systems and the battle UI and all that is not as refined. The graphics look like they're almost Breath of Fire 2. It's pretty interesting. It's like this looks like Breath of Fire 2, but like a cheap Chinese ripoff of Breath of Fire 2. And we woke up and our house was on fire. You could barely douse the fire. That V potion, which stands for Vigor, which I'm not entirely sure what Vigor does in this game. Let's see. Defense, maybe? Let me see if my defense goes up. Yep, okay, Vigor is defense. So, Vigor plus your armor equals your defense. So, yeah. Really. Let's talk to everybody. Now, this game is on both the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Advance. Now, there's a couple of things that the Game Boy Advance version has over the Super Nintendo version, but graphics and music is not one of them. Now, to advance the plot, you talk to the lady who moved out of the way, and then you talk to this lady right here, and she'll mention Sarah, who is the main character's sister. But back on the topic of this version versus the Game Boy version. Now, the Game Boy Advance version has the colors are a lot more washed out, and the music really, they had to compress it a lot, I guess, because the music is not nearly as good. I mean, it's not as deep and just sounds not as good quality is what it is. They had to compress it, I guess. But, of course, in the Game Boy Advance version, you can dash, which is a really big advantage over the Super Nintendo version. And basically what Sarah here is saying is that the Dark Dragon clan, which you saw them in the intro there, if you watched the intro. If you didn't watch the intro, then, well, there's basically two dragon clans. There's the Light Dragons and the Dark Dragons. And then the Dark Dragons want to kill the Light Dragons because the Light Dragons are the only ones that can stand up to the Dark Dragons. Bleh. That's basically the gist of it. And now they're burning down our village, even though the majority of the people in the village actually have given up the powers of the dragon so that they won't be dragged into another war. You actually see this in Breath of Fire 3 when you go to is it Dragoneer? I'm trying to remember what it's called, what the town is called in Breath of Fire 3. And basically she stoned everyone so that they couldn't get signs of life and the fire wouldn't hurt you. And she's going to go out there and face the Dark Dragons by herself. She has the power of the dragon. Basically, the only two people in the village that still have the power of the dragon are Sarah, and I'm not sure if the main character actually at this point has the power of the dragon. I mean, you can kind of see it either way that he does. It's just that he hasn't realized the potential, or he doesn't, and later on in the game he removes the seal on the power of the dragon by visiting the dragon shrines. But I think in every other game where there is a dragon village, it's called Dragonair. And I think in this one it's called Drogon. I actually played Breath of Fire 2 first, and then I found this game for sale. I bought it brand new. I got Breath of Fire 2 at a garage sale, and then I got this one brand new, still in the cellophane and everything. And I bought this one specifically because I liked Breath of Fire 2 so much. And definitely this game is not nowhere near as good as Breath of Fire 2, but I still enjoy it. I mean, you can still see a lot of the... Oh, you can see a lot of the startings of what made Breath of Fire 2 and 3 so good. And of course, they still have the whole villain explodes when you kill them thing that they had going in Breath of Fire 2. And this part right here actually made me, I actually like this part, this is the first time in an RPG I can think of back then where when someone's fighting someone on the world screen, like that they're not just bumping into each other like, ha, 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 ha. You know, like they do that all the time in RPGs, or they'll like just be standing next to each other. Like if you play a Dragon Quest game that's 2D, you'll notice a lot of times, oh look, we'll take care of these monsters, and they're just standing next to the monsters, walking in place. But this is the actual first time I remember where they're like, don't worry, when two NPCs fight, that they actually do something on the world screen other than just stand next to each other or bump into each other. So that actually kind of impressed me, even though I had played Breath of Fire 2 first. And of course, Sarah is gone. The village is destroyed. The warrior of the dragon is only a myth. Really now. I think I was the warrior of the dragon. Now, the beginning part of the game, I've never really understood Ryu's motivation. I mean, I suppose I want to lead towards like it being like righteous fury, kinda. I mean, he could be going for revenge, you know, for his sister's death. Now, if you go in these buildings, every one of these buildings like this, with the same general shape, is a save point, and you go inside and you talk to Ladon, the dragon god, and he'll save your game. One of the interesting things about Breath of Fire 1, 2, and 3 is you can see the dragon god's diminishing power. In this game, he can manifest himself in every one of his statues, and he has a shrine in every town. Breath of Fire 2, he has statues everywhere left over, but he can't manifest himself anymore. Now, actually, what you want to do here is you want to buy some herbs. I like to buy a stack of 9, just because it's convenient. And you want at least 5 antidotes. At least. Buying some marble 3s would probably be 3, 4, 5. That should be enough. Now, I actually do not recommend you buy anything from this guy. You'll get equivalent gear here shortly. The only thing that you might want to consider buying is the saber, but even then I wouldn't do that, because you get a sword in the first dungeon that it's not as good as the saber, but it'll keep you until you get to the second town, second dungeon. Now, in the second dungeon slash town, there is actually a what is it called? A merchant there, Nanai, which is where we're going to go next. There's a merchant, and she sells a longsword, which is a really good weapon that you're not going to be able to buy for a very long time. So if you buy it now, it gives you an advantage. Now, what these guys, the way I've always interpreted this scene is that everyone here is from Nanai. The soldiers, the king there, the king's advisors, all the people here, and that this is a place that was destroyed and all the people were killed by the dark dragons, and then they fled here. And from Nanai, they fled here from Nanai, and oh crap, this fight right here you want to run away from, because he'll kill you. That guy will kill you before you can kill him, unless you use an item, but I don't feel like using an item. Now, these little fountains there work just like they did in Breath of Fire 2, although they are a little more common in this game than they were in Breath of Fire 2. Now, what you want to do here is watch out for this guy as well, because he can do that. Shit. Ah, shit. Anyway, I ran into the 2 enemies in there that can kill you right off the bat. Oh boy. Not really a big deal. I'll just wander back up there. And go ahead and end it here, and I'll meet you back in the castle. Getting to level 2 on the world map's not a bad idea. Usually I just go straight to the castle and get my level up there, because there's a bunch of really easy enemies there. I just happen to run into the 2 hardest enemies, one right after the other. Typically I can go the entire dungeon without running into the gloom enemy. But, so I wouldn't worry too much about dying at this point. It's not like typical old school RPG stuff. You lose half your money when you die, so try not to die. Other than that, you really don't lose anything. You start back at the last save point you saved at, so I'm going to go ahead and save here. Hopefully I won't die again. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here, because I'm running out of time. And next time on Breath of Fire, we're going to continue further into Camelon Castle and hopefully rid this place of its taint. This is Treble, and I'll see you guys later.